The New York Mets and the Washington Nationals played Game 3 of their 4-game series on Sunday. We're going to handle this video a little bit different. We're going to get right into it. I had to take some time to fully digest this one. Game 3, Mets-Nationals. Let's get into it. Tylor Megill was on the mound for the Mets. Mitchell Parker on the mound for the Nationals. We scored 5 runs in the top of the first inning. 5 runs. Francisco Lindor led off the game for single. Soto and Alonso followed with walks. That loaded the bases. Bases loaded, no one out. Mark Vientos hit a sac fly. That scored Lindor 1-0. Sterling Marte walks to load the bases again. Brandon Nimmo hits a sac fly 2-0. Luis Torrens up. He's getting the start at catcher. And he grounds a single into center field. Alonso scores. Marte scores on a throwing error by Dylan Cruz in center. Torrens ends up on third base on the throwing error. 4-0 Mets. Luis Angel Acuna getting the start against the lefty, playing second base. Ground ball to the right side. That scores Torrens 5-0. Tyrone Taylor walked. That turned over the lineup, bringing up Francisco Lindor for the second time this inning. He ended up popping out to third base to end the inning. But that's 5-0. So now we have Tylor Megill, and he retires the side in order in the bottom of the first inning. Top of the second inning, Soto hits a ground ball into right center field. He legs out a double. Alonso picks up an infield hit to shortstop. First and second, no one out. Mark Vientos pops one up into right field. Garcia goes back. Alex Cole playing right field is coming in. Garcia makes a diving catch. Garcia and Cole collide. Soto tags up, goes to third. So now we have runners on the corners, one out. Marte hits a slow chopper to C.J. Abrams at short. Then unable to turn the double play. Soto scores 6-0. The Met bats at that point kind of went on snooze. Did a little bit more, but not much. So aside from a Dylan Cruz home run at the bottom of the second inning, just over Nimmo's reach as he tried to leap and rob it in left field, Megill had a pretty easy inning. So 6-1 after 2. For the Mets, top of the third, 3 up, 3 down. Top of the fourth, 3 up, 3 down. There was a walk by Soto, but Alonso grounded to a double play. Top of the fifth inning, Vientos leads off of a single. Marte grounds into fielder's choice. Brandon Nimmo flew out. Luis Torrens is up again. He had a big hit, doubling to right field. That scores Marte 7-1. 7-1. The probability at that point of the Mets winning this game was 96.1%. 96.1%. Meanwhile, Megill is cruising. He strikes out 2 in the bottom of the fifth. The Nationals go to their bullpen at the top of the sixth. They bring on Lucas Sims. He strikes out Taylor, hits Lindor. Then he strikes out Soto and gets Alonso to fly out. So bottom of the sixth inning, Megill's still cruising. Retires the side in order, striking out 2 more. Top of the seventh for the Mets, Vientos gets a base hit. A soft hit ball to third base. Marte gets hit by the ball. First and second, no one out. First and second, no one out. Can we, add a couple more runs on here? Nope. Brandon Nimmo grounds into a double play. And then Luis Torrens can't kill him. He's had 2 big hits, drove in some runs this game. He strikes out. So that ends the inning. But at this point, it's a 98.3% probability that the Mets win this game. Here's where everything goes to hell. Bottom of the 7th inning, Megill's still on the mound. Soto loses the ball in the sun, drops in. Luis Garcia Jr. is given a double. Megill comes back, gets the next batter, Nathaniel Lowe, strikes him out. Josh Bell, who was bound to get a hit eventually, singles to center, that drives in Garcia 7-2. So Megill's coming out of the game now. I wanted him to get through 7. I thought it would be very beneficial for the Mets in the bullpen if he could get through 7. I understand. Season high 105 pitches. Don't like it, but I understand. What I had a problem with is Mendoza brings on Jose Butto. And if you've been watching the games this year, Jose Butto has not been the Jose Butto of last year. When he's brought on with runners on base, they're typically scoring. The next inning, he'll have a nice, crisp 1-2-3 inning, but he's not doing well with inherited runners. He's had 5 of his 7 inherited runners score. And, it happened again in this game. So he had Josh Bell in first. He gave up back-to-back singles after striking out Dylan Cruz for the second out. Then he gave up a 3-run home run to Alex Call. So now all of a sudden the 7-2 game with a runner on first. You bring in Jose Butto. The bottom of the 7th ends and it's 7-6. Big change of momentum right there. Top of the 8th inning. What do the Mets do? New pitcher on the mound. Jackson Rutledge. 3 up, 3 down. Bottom of the 8th. Butto is out of there. Brazoban comes on the game. His 13th appearance of the year. He kind of walks a tightrope in that inning. Gives a bleed-up double. Walks a batter. Hits a batter. All mixed in. But he's able to get out of the inning without giving up a run. Top of the 9th. Could we add an insurance run here? Soto singles. Alonso's hit. First and second. No one out again. Mark Vientos up. And Soto and Alonso move to second and third on a wild pitch. Second and third. A ground ball to the right side. A fly ball to the outfield. We score a run that way. A base hit. We score 2 runs. Mark Vientos grounds out to C.J. Abrams at short. Abrams checks Soto at third before throwing the first. 1 out. Sterling Marte now up against Jackson Rutledge. Might I remind you that Jackson Rutledge is a righty? Do you think we could have had a pinch hitter there? We have McNeil on the bench. We have Winker. Another ground out to Abrams at short. Same thing. Soto holds at third. 2 outs. Jorge Lopez comes on to face Brandon Nimmo. Another ground out. This time to second base. So we had second and third. No one out. And we can't put one on the board. Takes us to the bottom of the 9th inning. Mets are up 7-6. They cling into the 7-6 lead. Edwin Diaz in the game for the save. Wait, no, not Edwin. Why was Edwin not in this game? Ryan Stanek comes on, and he immediately gives up a double to Alex Call. Keibert Ruiz pinch hits for Riley Adams, who hit the 3-run home run. And Ruiz grounds out to Acuna. Hits the ball to the right side. It moves over, called to third base with 1 out. Now you have C.J. Abrams up. The Mets are playing the corners in for a possible play at the plate. Abrams hits a hard ground ball between first and second. Alonso dives, can't get it, goes into right field. Tie game. Now we have C.J. Abrams at first base. Tie game. James Wood up, and he walks on a full count. However, 3 of those 4 balls by Stanek were nowhere near the plate. Now we got Luis Garcia Jr. up. Hits a ground ball to Alonso. Stanek kind of breaks late to first base. Alonso kind of hesitates for a second. Then he kind of tosses to Stanek, trying to lead him to first. Except it's a bad throw. It's over his head. It's between first and home plate. We lose the game. Walk off. Abrams comes around and scores. Just a horrible way to lose this game. It's a heartbreaker. The Mets lose a heartbreaker. But they deserve this loss. They had their opponent all but buried after 1. They couldn't add on in key spots, most notably in the top of the 9th inning. That's unacceptable. Why wasn't Marte pinch hit for? You had both Winker and McNeil on the bench. If Marte and Winker are going to be righty-lefty platooning, in that situation, with a righty on the mound, we should have put a lefty at the plate. Whether it's McNeil or Winker, it's inconsequential. Marte shouldn't have stayed in that game. I didn't agree with it. And the Mets bullpen imploded. I didn't like taking Tyler out in the 7th inning. I understood it, but I definitely didn't agree with bringing Butto on in that situation. At this point in the season, Butto has shown us who he is at this point, and that's not someone you want to trust with runners on base. And then why was Diaz not available in the 9th inning? So this is a tough one to lose, but what I'm going to say, and I want you to repeat after me, is this: 19-9. 19-9. One more time. 19-9. It's just one game. One very bad game. One incredibly frustrating game. But just one game. 19-9 without Juan Soto being Juan Soto. 19-9 without getting much from Brandon Nimmo, Mark Vientos, and our DH combination of Winker and Marte. 19-9 without Francisco Alvarez and Jeff McNeil up until this series. Oh, and without Shamanaya, and to a lesser extent Frankie Montas. We'll be fine. The Mets will look to bounce back to split the series on Monday, 4:05 p.m. Eastern. We have Griffin Canning on the mound. He's going for his 4th win. He's going up against former Met Trevor Williams. I'll be back to recap this game, as well as provide any other noteworthy Mets news. But till then, Mets fans, let's go Mets.